Hey everybody, coming live to talk about Genki basics and how you can get started. So I'm going to check that we are shared in our group, and feel free to comment, ask questions, and I will be sure to answer to the best of my ability. So I'm super excited to go over Gene Keys again, because I know there's a lot of new members in the group, and I want to make sure that you guys are all getting off to a good start and you feel confident and not as lost. Because I know that the Gene Keys, despite one of the Gene Keys being the gift of simplicity, I know that this can be complicated. So what I am trying to do now is to make it more easily accessible for you guys so that you are able to, oh, okay, good, we're shared. So that you're able to unlock what it is you need. If you feel pulled to this, it's usually because there's something in here. There's a nugget in here for you. And a lot of people are curious about this. So if you are watching, say hello. It says comment from Facebook. I have a comment from Facebook that says hello. So I'm not sure who that is because it's not showing me who it is. Anyway, so what we are going to get started on is I'm going to start screen sharing, and I'm going to show you different parts and pieces of the Gene Keys, and we're just going to hop right into it so that I can start explaining it and showing the different parts and pieces of it. So first, before we get started, I want to show you a couple resources that you will for sure be needing on your journey. So if you are interested in working on Gene Keys, you're going to need to go to the Gene Key Teachings website, and I'll put a bunch of links in the comments too, so you guys have all those resources. But remember, there are a ton of links in the group, in the pinned post. Sorry, I'm having people message me, and I thought that I muted the tab, so I apologize. But to get started, you're going to want to have your chart. So you can get your chart on the Gene Key website, and it looks like this. And I printed mine out, and you'll want it for reference, because you're going to want to see what the different numbers are in the different spheres. And we'll go over the different spheres today. So the first thing you're going to need is your chart. So if you already have your chart, I would definitely pull it out and so that you can look at it. And when we go over the different spheres, you might want to see what Gene Key is in it and start contemplating them. Another thing that you need, but you don't have to have, but it would definitely help you, is the Gene Key book. I have a link in I think the pinned post of this. I'm going to put a bunch of links in here, like I said before. So I have a link for this Gene Key book. You can buy it off of Amazon. You can search on Amazon. But it has all 64 Gene Keys in this book, and you are able to go and look up the different numbers that you have in your profile and find them within the book. This book is great to use as an oracle as well, because remember, I have been saying that we have all 64 Gene Keys within us, within our DNA, within our spiritual DNA, within our physical DNA. It's just the 11 Gene Keys that show up on your chart are the main players in your life. They show up frequently in your life, and you'll recognize them. All the other 64 Gene Keys show up sporadically. I've posted a calendar before, and sometimes I post the Gene Key of the day, and the Gene Key of the day is usually maybe like 3, 4, 5 days, and it just has to do with the sun and what Gene Key the sun sits in, because this Gene Keys teaching is based off of the Ching, which is called the Book of Changes, which talks about different experiences, lessons, things that change as the sun moves. So if you want to look up the I Ching, I haven't done a ton of research on it, so I can't give you a lot of information, but the Gene Keys are based off of the I Ching, and so is human design. So whenever the sun hits a certain gene key, it becomes active within us. We all start going through the same thing collectively. And then you have your 11 main ones that you have in your profile that you go through more frequently, right? So you'll need your chart and your book. This is kind of your map to discovering who you are, to discovering your purpose, to unleashing your creativity. I look at it as a map. Richard Rudd, I think, calls this your compass, and the gene keys your map. I don't know, he flip-flops it, but I like to call this my map because it looks like a map, and it kind of goes in the direction too, because you can see it starts with the activation sequence, and then goes up into the Venus sequence, and then comes into the Pearl sequence. And we'll talk about what each of these sequences mean in a second. But basically, that's what you need, your profile and this. Richard Rudd also has supplementary materials. For example, he has a program online called the Golden Path Program, and I think it's like $64 per sequence. So you can go through each of the sequences for $64. And if you are a self-paced studier and you don't really want to do it online, you can just purchase the book. I just purchased the book and just go through the book because I like it better and I like to have a physical copy. You can also do both, where you have the online thing, and I think each of these are like $20 or $30. I'd rather just have these. But Richard Rudd does have a lot of supplementary videos and materials if you're wanting to dive deeper into that. You can definitely do that, and that's on genekeys.com. He'll have links to it's called the Golden Path Program. So this is a deeper dive into it. First, you have like your main chart where you're going through the book and you're contemplating and reading the book. I'd say in your chart, focus on the first number first. You don't have to go dive into the line number yet. I know that makes it a little bit more confusing. I like to say that if Gene Key 15 were a pie, line 1 would tell you what kind of pie it was. And if Gene Key 10 was a quiche, line 1 would tell you what kind of quiche it was. So, and I'm using food references, but you don't have to dive into the line numbers yet. Speaking of line numbers, I'm going to screen share and dive into what exactly is this profile. What does it mean? Oops, upside down. And what are the components of it? Because I know a lot of you are like, oh, this is cool. There's a lot of words on it, but I don't really know how to read it. So I'm going to show you how to read it. So let me pull up my packet really quick. This packet is, there we go. This packet is available in the pinned post, and it has all of the basics of Gene Keys, which we're going to go over here. I'm just going to verbalize it and summarize things for you. But you can find this packet in the pinned post of this group and download it for free. And I also have a workbook that goes with it where you guys can write in if you're a writer and if you want to take notes and stuff like that. So this is the packet, and it goes off by stating what the different components of this chart is. So Gene Key's profile has these spheres, and each of these spheres mean a different thing. So like the top one is your life's work, then you have your evolution, your radiance, and your purpose. And there's 3 different sequences in the Gene Key profile. You'll have your activation sequence, which make up these 4 green spheres, and the Venus sequence, which makes up these red, not squares, circles, spheres. The Venus sequence, which makes up these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spheres. You can see that some of them are half and half because it is, once you get down to this part of the activation sequence is where you make the transition into the Venus sequence. This is the bulk of the Venus sequence, and it's your SQ, your EQ, your IQ, and your attraction. So that's the bulk of it that happens right here. And the purpose of the Venus sequence is for you to Open your heart to your relationships, because in order for you to serve the world and unleash your creative genius into the world, it's about you taking down your barriers, taking down your walls, understanding who you are, getting to the root of you, getting to the core of you, so that you can unlock your love and give unconditionally. Because when we have those walls, when we have those boundaries, it's a conditional thing. I'm only going to open myself up to you if X, Y, Z. And if not, then I'm going to put up a wall, or I'm going to push you out. Here, it's about truly being open and present, and then unleashing our love into the world. And it's through that unleashing of the love that we're able to align with our highest purpose and our highest creativity and what we're here to do, right? Okay, and then after we go through the Venus sequence, we'll get to the blue spheres, which make up your pearl sequence. Now, your pearl sequence is how you unlock and unleash your prosperity and abundance into the world. And so that has a lot to do with your core, your purpose, what you came here to do, and how it is manifested in this world. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of these. The middle one is the pearl, and that unlocks all of these. But it's very difficult to unlock the wholeness, the completeness of this sequence up here, unless you do the work here. Unless you go to the activation sequence, understand what your gifts are, then unlock and open up your heart indefinitely, and then you're able to serve through love. So that's kind of what these are. Let's see. These that go around the circle, these are called hexagrams, and they have a lot to do with the I Ching. So each of them are comprised of like bars. Here, let me zoom in. Some of the bars are completely solid, and then you'll see breaks in some. So there's a feminine and a masculine aspect. I can't remember which is feminine and which is masculine, but for the sake of just giving an example, say the straight lines are the masculine, and the ones with the breaks in them are the feminine. So it's a compilation of the feminine and masculine principles. And you'll see this one right here has all, I don't know, feminine or masculine. I can't remember which one is which. And it's not that important. I'm just telling you like what these different components of this are. And like we said, we talked about the spheres, which are the circles. We have the pathways, which each means something different. So you'll see from the radiance to the purpose, it's our core stability. And a definition of each of these lines is available in the Gene Keys Golden Path program or in these books. So if you're curious about diving deeper into these things, then you can do the books. But for now, they're not really that important. I think the biggest thing is for you guys to get acquainted and familiar with the first number here. So if this is a 5 for you, it's about going in the book and being like, okay, how does patience, impatience, and timelessness show up in my life? And what is the theme here? And how does it relate to the sphere it's in? So the biggest thing is in the beginning stages, in the basic stages of your journey, it's about you comparing this first number to the sphere it's in. So if you have Gene Key 5 in your life's work allows you to flow. It allows you to be yourself without compromise. When you are in the shadow of impatience, it really throws you out of the flow of your life. So it's about you learning and understanding what patience means, what timelessness means, and you're comparing it to the sphere, to your life's work. And then each of the spheres means something different. So then we're going to move on. So this is the pathway. Then we're going to move on to the frequency band. So you'll see that there are shadows, gifts, and cities. The shadows are in red, and then we have the gift frequency, which is what's unlocked. It's basically the middle expression of this gene key. So each of the gene keys have a frequency band. So 5 has a shadow, which is the shadow of impatience. The gift of this gene key, the gift that you hold from this gene key, is the gift of patience. And then the city frequency is a like enlightened status type thing. And we shift through all of these. We're all of them at the same time. They're all present within us, the shadow, the gift, and the city. It's just, what are you focusing on? What are you wanting to experience? What are you calling into your life? You're either experiencing the shadow of the gene key, the gift of the gene key, or sometimes the city. And the Civic frequency happens when you spend a majority of your time in the gift, so that you're able to pop up and taste this city. Civic frequencies are usually a being state, a unity state, a oneness state, and there's not a lot of activity and action going. So the Civic frequencies aren't a goal, aren't a finish line. This is not about being at the end of a finish line. It's not that at being enlightened. It's not a goal. There is no goal. It's just about you choosing your experience, and having awareness of these different frequencies allows you to choose what frequency you want to be in. Oh, do I want to choose to be in the shadow, the gift, or the city? The Civic state, again, like I said, is a lot of just being, a lot of peace energy, a lot of bliss energy, and it's not a lot of activity or putting things out into the world. It's just simply being. It's like returning to source, returning to one. Let me see, since I'm looking at this, let me see if you guys have any comments. I love that. Do you talk about the lines? Wow, how come it's not showing me everybody? It's just saying comments from Facebook. Okay, all right, Be Live. What's the name of the book? Gene Keys. Gene Keys, Unlocking the Higher Purpose Hidden in Your DNA. And I do talk about the lines. Okay, so since we're about to move on to the next slide, I want to show you guys where you can find the lines. So if you go in our group and you type in, the only lines that I have explained in our group are in the life's work, the evolution, the radiance, and the purpose. So I went through and explained all the different lines in the activation sequence. So if you're wanting to hop into your gift frequencies, hop into your gifts of your Gene Keys, all of the green spheres, those tell you what your gifts are. Those tell you, your gifts. I'm just going to say your gifts. And so in the group, I went through all 6 lines in all 4 spheres. So if you want to find out, okay, so I'm a 6.5. If you want to find out where that shows up in the group, and let me show you guys how to do it if some of you guys aren't as tech savvy. So hold on one second while I share our group so that you guys can see. I want to make sure I show you guys how to do this so that you are, here we go. Here we go. Okay. So I'm pulling up my our group, Your Life by Design, right now. Let me close my chat window. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share this. There we go. Oh man, the internet is so fun right now. Super fun. Okay. What you give grows. That's right, Allie. Okay. So if this will load, I'll show you. Okay, here we go. So what you're going to want to do is in our group, you're going to want to go to, okay, man, I have too many windows open. My internet's like overload. You're going to want to go into this search bar that says search the group. Click on this. And then remember, I only did the purpose, radiance, evolution, and life's work. So you're going to want to type in life's work if you're wanting to dive into the lines. So you're going to come in here. And it's going to show all the, here we go. Here we go. This one right here, it says your life's work. And then it has all the line numbers. So you're going to click on the comments and you're going to want to go look at your, since we're in life's work, mine is a 6.5. So I want to go look up the 6th line. So line 1, line 2, line 3, and it has a description of what each of these mean. I'm a 5th line, so right here. So I read this description and be like, okay, 5th line's job is very good at discerning if the thing they created will be helpful in the world or not. You're here to find something worthwhile, take ownership of it, and do something really powerful with it. When you contemplate your life's work, think about how you can make a business out of it. Think about how you can use it as a leader. So because I'm a 6.5 and it's conflict, diplomacy, peace, I really resonate with internal peace and then external peace. And what does that mean? And so I have adopted the Gene Keys teachings because I believe that it can help us bring inner peace to ourselves. And so I look at it and I'm like, oh, this is relevant for my life, for others' life. I take it and I'm here to be a leader and use it to teach other people and to guide other people towards peace. And so the main thing for me is about facilitating peace, inner peace, outer peace, extinguishing conflict so we're not experiencing that as much. And so I am helping you achieve inner peace through this Gene Key teaching. And I have other things that I work with. It's not just Gene Keys, but Gene Keys is what I'm focusing on right now because it's relevant and because I feel like it's needed. And so that's what I'm putting out. I'm using my creativity to help people work with this in a more accessible way to achieve inner peace. And so that's what I'm doing. And so that's how I contemplate my life's work of that Gene Key. So you would do that with yours and just go into our group and just, like I said, go to the search bar and do all those. If the lines are if it's too hard for you to compare the sphere, the line, and the Gene Key, just focus on the Gene Key. Just focus on, if you have Gene Key 38 in your profile, just go and read Gene Key 38 and contemplate it. Contemplate what struggle means to you. Contemplate what perseverance means, because he's going to illuminate the different definitions and descriptions of what it's like to be in the Civic frequency, what it's like to be in the gift and the shadow. And I wouldn't, whenever I work with Gene Keys, I don't focus on the shadow that much. It's not like, oh my God, I need to do all this mindset work, all this shadow work. I don't hang out in the shadows that much. What I do is I read it so that I have an awareness and I'm mindful about what the shadow looks like and when I'm operating in shadow, so that I can have, oh, ding, shadow. Oh, okay, Ashley, shift out of it. And then when I read the gift frequency of perseverance, I know that the reason that I'm struggling is because I don't feel like there's a purpose in the struggle. I don't feel like there's a purpose for it, right? When we can understand why we're doing the things we're doing, then we are able to then we're able to have perseverance. The battle isn't such a struggle when we know why we're there. So when you're struggling about something, it's because you have not aligned with like a higher vision or a higher goal. You don't know why you're doing it. So that's usually why struggle happens. So when you do feel that struggle, ask yourself, why am I doing this? What's the purpose of this? Because when you have that purpose, you're able to continue on. Let's see. This is funny, isn't it a paradox? So somebody had commented, how does one take initiative if they are a projector? Aren't we not supposed to take initiative? But my life's work is 51, which is awakening, initiative, and agitation. And I have been told that it is possible to have like a cusp in signs, similar to astrology signs or being born on the cusp of two signs. Is it possible for me to happen in human design and Gene Keys? So what I would say with this is, don't get too fixated on the rules, because you are the inner guidance. You are infinitely wise, and you don't need Ra's set of rules to tell you, because I feel like people are not defining and taking initiative or initiating things very well. They're feeling like they can't do anything. They're like, I need a specific interaction that tells me this is an initiative. This is me initiating you. This is me asking you for your opinion. But if you have your life's work, and this is so curious and interesting that your life's work is 51 and you're a projector, like you were saying, you're like in a dilemma right here. The agitation is initiative enough. When you feel that agitation in your body, when you feel that unease in your body, that's a signal that it's time to push past the barrier and take initiative and take action, because it is that feeling in your body, that agitation in your body that lets you know as a signal, it's time to take initiative. It's time to do something about it, right? And you have to ask yourself, where is this coming from? Where is this agitation coming from? And how do I take action in a loving way? How do I take action in an aligned way? And usually, Gene Key 51 and Gate 51 in human design is the gate of shock. Is the gate of I can't remember what it's called in Gene Keys. Let me look it up because I have that in mind too. It's in my attraction sphere. So there's going to be situations and circumstances that come to shake things up for you, so that it can kind of push you on your track. Initiative to initiation. Yeah. So it's all about fears. So the reason we're feeling this agitation in our body is because a fear is popping up for us. And we are able to look that fear in the face and take initiative towards our awakening from getting rid of the illusion, from lifting the veil. Because our fears are illusions. And so we're here to feel that agitation in our body, specifically you, because it's in your life's work, and be like, what fear is coming up for me? What fear is here? And how is this not true? How is this an illusion? How do I move past this? How do I work past this? And that's your initiative enough. Your physical response in your body is enough initiative for you to take action. And it's about you uncovering and unlocking all these fears. And in the Gene Keys, the shadow says the portal to fears. And what they mean is that, the portal of fear, sorry. What they mean is that our fears hold a portal, hold a wormhole towards our awakening. We have to look at, embrace, accept that fear, that discomfort, and move past it to get into the awakening of knowing what's true for us, what's love. And so that's kind of where you're going with this. Okay, let's see. Let's go back, bring this back to our screen share. Okay, so that's what the different things in here mean. We're going to move on. It talks a little bit about the art of contemplation. Contemplation is a very important aspect of the Gene Keys because it's not about concentrating or racking your brain being like, why, I need to find the answer. It's not about that. Contemplation is more that you are taking in the information, letting it marinate and permeate within you, going about your day, and then having little epiphanies throughout the day. It's like between meditation and concentration. It's the in-between state. So it's not like complete like meditation where you're like clearing your mind, like, okay, what's coming? It's not this direct download thing. And it's not concentration. Like, I'm going to really dive into the 51st Gene Key and find out everything I can about it. And then it's kind of not that. It takes a surrender in a way. You're bringing the information in and surrendering to what comes. So that's kind of what contemplation is. You get to witness, like they're saying here, witness the emergence of your genius. Okay. So again, this explains the different frequencies. So we'll go over this really quick. The city is your divine gift. It comes when all the vestiges of the shadow, particularly at a collective level, have been transformed into light. So what they're talking about in the Civic frequency is, because we kind of go between all the frequencies. It's not like you can't get into the Civic frequency. We have tastes of the Civic frequency every now and then. And on a collective level, we are all working through all 64 Gene Keys and releasing the shadows, releasing the illusions, coming into the gift frequency, and our what completes our evolution is the Civic frequency. And what the Civic frequency is about aligning with unity, oneness, and being. And so at a collective level, that would mean like everyone coming back to source, right? And that's what we do anyways. When we are done in these bodies, we return to source and we become source again. But you can have taste of that here. You can taste the unity. You can taste the oneness. All Civic states are not hierarchical or segregated, separated. When you hit the Civic frequency, all 64 Gene Keys become unlocked. And it's like you taste all of them at once. It's one frequency. It's one frequency band, and it's all one, all together. It's the shadow, the gift, and the city coalescing together into oneness. And that's what you experience in the Civic frequency. It's a very being state. And so it's not a goal to get there. It's not like, oh, I want to get there and be done, because then you will be done. You will be done. You will just be being, and that's what it will be. The gift frequency is more about you finding the sweet spot in the middle, and that's where you're able to align with your heart and serve the world with your gift. Because it's about recognizing the shadow and knowing how the collective and people and yourself are operating in the shadow. And the gift frequency is that higher vibration, that higher aspect of that allows you to to have joy in your life and to unleash these gifts into the world so that you can help more people raise out of the shadow. It's all about, the shadow is more about me, 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 me. And I'm wounded, I'm a victim. It's victim, 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 victim. I'm a victim. The gift frequency is more when you come into altruism and you turn around and you're helping others back up. It's also this like bliss state, this joyous, this optimism that you have in your life because of releasing the shadow of victimization. Because all the shadows carry a victim pattern, carry a way in which you decided that you were a victim. That's you giving your power away. And when you're in the gift frequency, you're bringing your power back to you. You're making conscious decisions. And because you're conscious about the decisions you're making, you're in control, you're in charge of your life, and you decide what you experience and what you don't experience. So the shadow frequency is more about human suffering, our wounds, our victim states, and that's where the majority of people live today. They like to be victims. So what we're doing with the Gene Key is allowing ourselves to hop and pop out of the shadow frequency where we feel like we're a victim of something and empower ourselves to come into the gift frequency so that we can, experience joy and happiness and bliss in our lives because we are taking our power back. And inner peace comes from releasing the victim states. Like if you feel like a victim, you're going to feel conflict, you're going to feel turbulence, you're going to feel all these different shadow states. But when you're in the gift frequency, it's where you start tasting that like divine inner peace, and you can finally be at ease and relaxed with your life because you're not manifesting and calling in all these experiences. Ooh, hummingbird, all these experiences that you're not liking. Because shadow state is victim state. And so what happens when you're vibrating at that level, you are attracting experiences that vibrate at the same level. So if you are feeling like you're a victim of control, you're going to have a lot of experiences where you feel like you're being controlled. When you shift out of that and know that you are, first of all, we are divine creators ourselves. We are in control of our life based on what we are putting out into the world. So it's really up to us to what we experience. So it's about changing your perception, releasing your beliefs, releasing your attachments, being non-attached, having no expectations, and just being. The more you're in the being state, the more you can start attracting the higher frequency things based on your desires that aren't based on shadow frequencies or victim or lack, right? So that's kind of those three ones. And you can look through this and read more. There's more involved in this. Let me check. Before I move on, let me check if you guys have any questions. Let's see. Being mindful enough to choose love and faith over fear. Yes, yes. This is all about mindfulness. Inner peace comes from being mindful. And living a life that you have designed for yourself comes from being mindful. Things start going wrong when we start putting ourselves in the victim pattern, when we start looking at our shadows and deciding to experience those shadows, because it's all an experience. Life isn't happening to us, it's happening for us, and it was created by us. And that's just how it is. So we need to take responsibility for our experience. Nobody else is in charge of what we're experiencing. We are. We hold the key to the perception. We hold the key to our joy, our love, our happiness. Nobody else can give it to us. We give it to ourselves. And so that's why the Gene Keys is an internal process. You have to go inward to then extend outward. It's about finding out who you are, unleashing all of these labels, judgments, beliefs, attachments, being naked, being raw, and knowing our core, which is source, which is love, which is God. We are God. We are love. And once we can derobe ourselves and kind of just allow ourselves to embody that oneness, that wholeness, then we can decide, how do I want to create in the world? What do I want to do? And we be very intentional about how we are going to put our love out into the world. So before we were awake or we were asleep, and we didn't know who we were. We didn't remember. And so these gifts that we are uncovering in the Gene Keys allows us to see, like, okay, what is this makeup of me? What have I decided to experience in this lifetime? It's kind of like what you are seeing, the blueprint of your soul. What did your soul sign up for? And it's not about a hierarchy. It's not about, oh, I'm better than this person because I have these gene keys. Oh, I have this and this one's cool and this gift is really cool. It's not about segregating or separating. It's more about illuminating. We're illuminating what you have inside you. You're releasing your judgments. You're releasing your attachments. You're releasing everything. Like basically blank slate. And then you're being intentional about what you want to create with the world based on, how you want to manifest, based on what's coming out of you. And it's all about opening your heart to love, opening your heart to remembering. And once you have that, and once it's open, you're able to manifest your creativity into the world because it just flows out of you. It's not forced. You're not comparing. And then you start collaborating and working with others because you know who you are and you know who they are. We're all one. We're all the same. And then you start appreciating yourself and appreciating others because you're seeing the divinity in all of us. I like what you said about tasting the city because that is very possible. I love the analogy that the shadow is the seed, the gift is the flower, and the city is the fruit that has the seed. Taste the fruit, pieces of peace. Oh, I love that. Yes, I love that analogy too. So the shadow is the seed. And remember, our gifts, our fruits always start from a seed. And so you have to be in the dark, deep soil before you bloom, before you flower. You bring that awareness to where you're at and decide to initiate yourself to grow and bloom. Growth comes from your awareness that you are still in the soil. It's about understanding your surroundings, being like, oh, even though this is darkness, there's a lot of nutrients. There's a lot of things I can glean from this experience. There is a lot in here that is going to help me grow. And then you sprout, come up, start growing, start reaching for the sun, reaching for the source, and then allowing source to bloom and fruit your Civic, your fruit that you then will give to the world. Because it's not about keeping and hoarding all these things to yourself. We're meant to give. We're meant to share. And so that's what I'm hoping to do, is help you guys be at peace with yourself, be at peace with your being, and then unlock your creativity so that you can unleash it in the world. Because I know a lot of you are always like, what's my purpose? What am I here to create? And I know a lot of you feel like, I'm not creative. All of us are creative. All of us are creating every second of every day, every moment. And it's not right for us to say that we're not creative, because we are. It's just the meaning we give to the word creative or creativity is not aligned with what it actually is, because I don't really think that it can be defined, because it is unique to everyone and it shows up differently for everyone. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you are artistic. Artistic is different than creativity, right? Okay, so we got the frequency bands, the activation sequence. So we talked about this, your 4 prime gifts. Those are your life's work, purpose, evolution, and radiance. Those are your 4 prime gifts, and they make up about 70% of your being. It's kind of like what most people see. It's like your dominant personality traits, and those are your prime gifts. So I'm not going to I don't really want to go too much into that. Let's see. Your Venus sequence is the path of courageous emotional opening through relationships, about opening your heart. And we've talked about this. I want to go on to the spheres. So the 11 spheres. So the first one at the top of your profile is your life's work. They say life's work / brand because when you get into the pearl sequence, they call it the brand in the pearl sequence. So it's kind of half and half. Oh, sorry. Okay. This aspect of your profile and its relevant Genki highlights the ideal arena of your external work in the world. It's the role that suits your creative expression and allows full freedom to be yourself without compromise. The shadow is what tends to occur when you lose touch of your true self. On the other end of the spectrum, the Civic or highest potential is you living your absolute zenith of your genetic potential. In the pearl sequence, the sphere is known as your brand, as it guides you in how best to express your highest gifts in order so that you can achieve true recognition in life. So that's kind of what the life's work is. So I feel like it's how you flow and when you're in and out of flow. When you're in the shadow state, I feel like you're out of flow. When you're in the gift or Civic frequency, you're in flow. Your evolution is the single greatest challenge that you face in your life. It's both external and internal at the shadow frequency. You learn to embrace this aspect of yourself so that your life will gradually be transformed. The highest purpose of your evolution is allow yourself to transcend your own suffering and ultimately find deep and lasting peace. So how do you find deep and lasting peace? You unlock the gift of your evolution. Your evolution is that nugget of wisdom that allows you to align with that deep inner peace. It's beautiful. Okay, so your radiance. Your radiance has a lot to do with your life force energy and your vitality. It's what people see you radiating as. It's how you thrive in life. And it has to do with your physical, emotional, and mental health. It's one of your hidden gifts. This gene key will either undermine your health and well-being through its shadow frequency or bring great love and vitality through your gift. So if you guys are getting sick, or if you're feeling like emotional turmoil, mental turmoil, look into your radiance gene key, because it is a little nugget of wisdom that says why you are not thriving, why you are sick, why you are in emotional or mental turmoil. So that's an important one to see. And when you are in the gift frequency, your aura is so big, is so expansive that you start magnetizing so much to you because you are thriving, because your life force energy is so vibrant, it just draws people in. It's like you turned on and ignited your light and everybody's seeing it, right? Okay, then your purpose is another hidden gift, and that's at the bottom. It lies deep within your DNA. It's when you trust in your highest dreams and have the courage to manifest through your life's work. Then your purpose begins to nourish you from deep within your being. That's why this talks about the core stability. This line says core stability because when you are thriving, you're then able to feed an anchor into this purpose. Your purpose is what you anchor into, and that's what creates that core stability. You're thriving, so you're able to root and anchor your purpose down into the ground, and it creates this unshakable drive and motivation, right? When you ignite the gift of this gene key, you activate the forces of synchronicity and grace in your outer life. Your purpose is all laid out for you already. All you have to do is unlock it. This can occur as you embrace your own inner nobility to express it through selfless service and unconditional love. So that's the purpose. Your attraction sphere comes into your Venus sequence, and it's about your attractor field. It's a magnetic power in your aura that draws certain karmic relationship into your life. So it's the people, the situations, the relationships that you attract into your life. The shadow will manifest as an ongoing external conflict that you will meet in your relationship. So that's the hallmark of the shadow frequency in your relationships is what kind of relationships are you attracting? What kind of conflict comes up in these relationships? So look at the shadow frequency. Mine is agitation because it's agitation, initiative, and awakening. So mine is agitation in my relationships. And then the gift of your relationship is what is going to open new possibilities and vistas for you. At the highest level, it can also unlock the secrets of Tantra, the transmutation of your sexuality into spiritual essence. That sounds pretty cool. Okay. Your IQ, which is this sphere right here, has to do with your mental faculties. It's about how you think. It's our mental development. It happens on age 14 to 21 because each of our gene keys comes in the Venus sequence comes off of the 7-year cycles. So this is the third phase of the 7-year cycle. And you're making your way back in time to come to your core, to come to the womb where you were created. So you're going through your childhood. You're unlocking the gifts in your mental, emotional, and physical being so that you can open your heart and come to the core of everything. And so this shadow governs the way in which you have learned to use your mind and try to control your emotions and override your intuition. So mine is Genki 18, which is about judgment. So judgment is what will override my emotions and will control my emotions and override my intuition. As you become aware of the pattern of this gene key and its controlling and stifling influence on your emotional life, so you can unlock this gift. Because it's about mindfulness. It's about seeing the patterns you are in and and stopping that biofeedback loop, hopping off of the wheel and starting a new experience. Like, I don't have to be in judgment. It's about integrity and perfection, right? This will disable your primary emotional trigger, making you both less reactive and less provocative in all your relationships. Your IQ soars to encompass all possibilities in life when released from unconscious, narrow-minded, or opinionated thinking. So that's this one. The next one is your emotional quotient, and that comes from age 7 to 14. So it's all about emotional intelligence, emotional development, and so in the IQ, you have a intellectual defense mechanism, and then in your EQ, you have a emotional defense mechanism. So how do you react and respond to emotions or whenever you feel unsafe? So the shadow of the Genki governs your primary emotional defense mechanism, which is a set pattern you adopted as a child whenever you felt unsafe. You will become far more comfortable with your emotions when you identify and release the pattern. You allow your emotions to flow naturally without feeling overwhelmed. This gene key is related to the point is also connected with the release of our inner child. Thus, when the gift of this gene key opens, you will experience great surge of playfulness and freedom in your life. And so mine is 47, which has to do with oppression and oppression in the realm of emotions. And I've always been told that I'm like overly emotional, like as a kid. Now I see it as a gift and I get to play with my emotions. And the more I can see that my emotions don't oppress me and other people don't oppress my emotions, nobody's in control of what I experience and how I feel. I'm in control of how I feel. I get to choose that experience. So I no longer feel oppressed by my emotions or by other people in my life. So that's what unlocks and unleashes your inner child so that you can play more. So look into your EQ and ask yourself, what's my emotional defense mechanism? What am I using as a defense mechanism? The same thing with your IQ. What is your mind's defense mechanism? With mine, when I feel judged, that's what triggers. Or when I feel like out of sync or my mind's like, I don't understand this, I'll immediately judge, right? Because that's just how it is for me. Your SQ is also known as your love point, and it's the first 7-year cycle from birth to age 7. And this is about our physical development. It's about how our soul is learning how to be in a body. The shadow of this is an unconscious pattern that undermines your self-esteem. So this has a lot to do with self-esteem. Working through the shadow and opening the gift in the city of this gene key ensures that all your relationships can finally become deeply fulfilling and transparent. So that your love point, your self-esteem, your self-worth, all that stuff. Mine is 16.6. So I have indifference, versatility, and mastery with mine. So indifference is like I don't really care. Like indifference is a very not fun emotion to be in. Versatility is about using all the resources and gifts and things that are available to you and knowing that you're limitless. Indifference is when you don't even have the motivation to like go and reach out for those different gifts. So anyways, your core was imprinted on you in the womb, and it's woven in your DNA. Your core is what's going to reveal the final layer of your deepest potential. It's woven into your DNA and is an ancient wound that you share with all humanity. This is also what you're meant to do in the world. So let's see where it says about the gift. The great gift that can one day motivate you to excel in life. It's your highest vocation. The shadow of this gene key conceals your highest vocation. As you unlock this gene key through following your Venus sequence back through your childhood. See, we got the IQ, EQ, SQ, and then you finally open your heart and decide that you're going to transform your suffering into your divinity. You're bringing your awareness back to that point of conception. And in the 22nd gene key, I'm going to talk about the lines in this because I think it's really valuable and important to see. Actually, let me let's see. I want to share my profile with you because I'm wanting to talk about a specific part of it. So where are you? Here you are. Okay, so we're right here. We're in the vocation. So we're up in my vocation right here. So I got immaturity, expansion, and superabundance. Mine is a 5th line. You're going to have to look into this because what happens when we're conceived is this vocation, this highest potential, this your job, your purpose, your actual purpose in this world comes here. And so it's already imprinted on you as a baby, coming into the womb, coming into the world. And understanding what your core wound is you understanding what you're transmuting in the world. Because I don't, this isn't stated in the Gene Keys, but what I believe is that if you're a first line, second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line, sixth line, these all attribute to a core wound that the conscious collective shares together. So when you heal yourself, you heal the whole. And I'm here to transmute this karma and turn this fifth line of guilt into forgiveness. And let me see. We're talking about the sacred seals kind of right now. That's another, I won't get into that because I know that's not for the basics, and we'll talk about this later. But I just wanted you guys to kind of understand and look at what's your core wound? What's the main thing that you are here to transmute? So in Gene Key 22, which I'm flipping to right now, I'll tell you what page. Page 169, it talks about the 6 core wounds of humanity. So you're going to look at your vocation, look at, okay, what gene key's coming into play, and then look at what line. So the 5 lines are, line 1 is the core wound of repression. Line 2 is the core wound of denial. Line 3 is the core wound of shame. Line 4 is the core wound of rejection. Line 5 is the core wound of guilt. Line 6 is the core wound of separation. So you're going to see, you're going to see how these come into play in your life, because this is what you're transmuting. This is what you're doing for the whole, for the collective. So when you're unleashing your creativity, when you're unleashing your potential, when you're serving the world, you're transmuting this. And you can, this goes for all the other ones. So you can see what your other lines are. So I got guilt, repression. Let's see. 6 is separation. I have a lot of line 1s. So repression of judgment, repression of oppression, repression of dullness. The 6th line is separation. So agitation that creates separation. And I've experienced that. Whenever I feel agitation in my relationships, I would run away. I'd be like, no, I don't want to deal with this. So it creates more separation. I'm not even running away. It's about feeling a separation and distance between you and that person. And then again, a first line. So self-obsession, repression of self-obsession. And then 4th line over here, we got rejection of the expectations that I set. So here, that's just how you can read those. And it goes into deeper descriptions. These are just the core wounds. Richard Rudd does a really great job about explaining each of these lines in the Golden Path books. And it's like longer descriptions. It's not just about repression or separation. He goes into like, what does that mean? What does repression mean in your life's work? What does separation mean in your radiance? And so you look through that, and he goes through and does a phenomenal job of explaining that. And it makes sense. It makes sense. Let's see. Okay. Let me back this up a little bit. Ooh, too far. Let me see what you guys are saying really quick. Okay. Thank you for all. You're welcome. That makes sense. Compassion is my attraction. Beautiful. That makes sense. My mom and dad were super codependent. Oh, do you have the, it's codependent, sensitivity, and sacrifice, I think? Yeah. So ask yourself too, because what happens in a lot of relationships is codependence forms when we are in this biofeedback loop with our partner, and we are thinking that they need to give us something, that we need to give them something, like we need to carry them or we need to save them or whatever. So it creates this codependent relationship. And so the codependence allows you to stay in the shadows and not flow and have synergy together, because you feel like you need the other. And so if the other were to pull away, you would feel like, hey, you're not giving me what I need. But that's not what it's about. You are self-sufficient. You have everything you need within you. You are whole. You are healed. And you don't need the other person to heal you or to fulfill you or to validate you or anything like that. So you need to look into your relationships and your attraction sphere and be like, okay, what's showing up in my relationships? Okay. What else was I? Okay. Let me pull this down, and we're going to finish going through this. Oh, I love doing this. This is fun. I love teaching this. Okay, so your core vocation. Then we have your culture. So now we're into the Pearl sequence. And the Pearl sequence is how we unlock our potential, how we unlock our genius, how we put our creativity into the world through our purpose. So the culture of your gene keys shows you how you best fit in the social fabric of the world. It kind of tells you who your tribe is, and it also tells you what is directly blocking you from manifesting prosperity. Prosperity doesn't necessarily have to mean wealth, money. Prosperity is like abundance, is like feeling fulfilled, feeling gratitude, feeling overflowing, and not feeling lack. And lack can show up in so many different arenas, not just money. So I feel like a lot of people are like, ooh, this is what is going to allow me to manifest money into my life. This is what, and it does do that. The culture sphere is your deepest indicator of how you're blocking yourself from receiving energy, from receiving money, because money is energy, from receiving all the things that you're desiring, right? And so that is what is blocking you. So it's important for you to see what is blocking you. For example, for me, I have Genki 42, which is about expectation, detachment, and celebration. I need to be very present in my business and not plan too far ahead or have expectations. It's not about that for me. It's about being present, going with the flow, doing things that I love in the moment, and being very present with what people need in the moment. How am I serving people in this moment? That's why I don't really plan things, and that's why I kind of stray away from scheduling things, which I understand you guys want to be on, and I'm here to help you guys and be available for you guys. But I love just going with the flow and just hopping on whenever spirit pushes me, pulls me, whatever. So my culture is about when I'm very present in my business and going with the flow, it allows me to feel that abundance, feel that overflow. Let's see. The shadow blocks you from manifesting your prosperity. Working through the fear in the shadow, you can therefore open up a period of amazing growth in your life. The gift and city of your culture trigger the forces that catalyze your higher life purpose. They can also bring powerful new allies into your life to assist you in your purpose. So again, it's like your tribe. It's the people that are helping you. It's the people that you are here to serve. It's all these people that are going to help you learn what you need to do to manifest prosperity into your life. It also shows you how you're best designed to operate as part of a collectivity. It engenders material, emotional, and spiritual prosperity. Beautiful, right? So those are, we have the vocation, the culture, and then the obviously the life's work, which is up here, which we already talked about. And then we have the pearl. The pearl is the pearl in your oyster. When you open it up, it's like the world is your oyster. It catalyzes quantum leaps within your being so that you can unlock the gift frequency in all these. If you guys understand your pearl, you start unlocking and magnetizing all these things to you, because you it's just an unleashing of your potential, of your creativity, of this lesson experience that allows you to just all the things start making sense. You're like, whoa, this happens because of this. It's like, this is the root, the core, the center of everything, and everything stems off of it and from it. So when you look at your pearl, again, let me pull up mine so that I can give you an example. When you look at your pearl, where are you? Here you go. My pearl is chaos, innovation, and innocence. And so when I look at my pearl, what has been a hallmark of my life as a mom and my awakening, because I started waking up after I've already had 3 kids. So my life is pretty crazy. They're under 6. Before I had 3 under 4. It was 3 under 4. And I've had to learn how to create in the chaos. So despite what's happening around me, I work with and create with the chaos. And so I'm able to look at my pearl and be like, okay, how does the pearl expect this? So when I am in chaos, or when I'm putting expectations on what chaos is, or be like, a friend comes over and we're wanting to work on this on a project, and I have all my kids, and then I have this expectation that my kids are going to be angels and they're not. It's like, you have to expect the unexpected, Ashley, and you have to flow with every moment, be present with every moment, and create within that chaos, whatever it shows up as. And chaos is only what happens in the beginning of something until you get the groove of things, until you get into the flow of things. So I've become a master of being able to go from task to task to task and create in the chaos while not being attached to staying in a particular like location, like, oh, I need to finish this report. If I don't finish this report, I'm going to get super agitated. That's not what happens. I need to be like, okay, I flow where the universe takes me. So if chaos is pulling me this way, I'm going to create in the chaos over here and make sure everything's good here, then move over to over here. And I've just been able to move within the chaos. And then we have immaturity, expansion, and superabundance, which has a lot to do with returning to the one, returning to oneness, evolving beyond evolution. And so immaturity is what happens when it's kind of like what I have been in through a lot of parts of my life. I'm still diving into this because obviously this is my vocation and brand. And what I have begun to understand about expansion and superabundance for me is that we're constantly expanding until we're not. And in the state of oneness, in the state of unity, there is no expansion. It's just superabundance. It's just is immense. It is unity. It is oneness. It is returning to the God source within us. And so what I'm understanding is how this journey is leading me back into myself to remember who I am, which is part of source, which is part of God, which is what leads me towards my expansion of releasing my beliefs, releasing all these things so that I can then feel that abundance, feel that unity within myself and within others. So it's a lot about unity. It's a lot about returning to the source and evolving beyond evolution. So this spiritual journey and the progression that I'm making towards returning to oneness is kind of what I'm understanding with this so far. And obviously it's going to, my definition of this will evolve as I evolve. So I want you guys to hold these loosely. I don't want you to grip these and be like, this is the answer to everything. Your understanding will change as you change. Nothing is constant. We're constantly evolving, constantly changing. And so I want you to look at these as living. They are living gene keys, and they will evolve with you, and you will glean different insights at different times of your life. So it's important to look at these and be like, okay, right now what I'm seeing with this gene key is this. Like I can look at this gene key and be like, oh, it's about being present. It's about releasing expectations. But another core of this gene key is about letting go of living and dying. It's about celebrating each moment in the present as if it's your only moment. And so I can make that focus and think like, okay, I need to release fear of death. I need to be present in the moment and really live life and celebrate life as it is and just find joy in the moment. Detach from expectations of where I want to go. Stop projecting into the future, projecting into the past. It's not real. Just stay present. And so I can look at it from that perspective or angle. All of these can take on a new lens, a new meaning for you as you grow and evolve. So you'll constantly be coming back to this and be like, oh, here's something new that I got from this. And maybe some other beliefs or things may fall away and it doesn't resonate with you anymore. And that's fine. They're living, they're evolving, they're not the same. And so even Richard Rudd's definitions may not resonate with you the whole time. Because it's not that he created these. He didn't create them. He just brought them down and he just channeled them. And they're living and evolving. So they're going to evolve with you. So don't define them based on society's definition. Like, what does conflict mean? What does diplomacy mean? What does peace mean? Sometimes those definitions will evolve too. So I want you to be very fluid with this and just let it evolve as you evolve. And it's not that, oh my God, once I understand all of this, I'll feel secure and safe. And because it's not about safety. This isn't about creating safety. This is about understanding who you are and allowing yourself to evolve. It gives you a little bit of peace of mind, but it's not about putting boxes around you and saying, this is who I am, this is how I operate, this is where I'm going, because again, that's creating expectations, and you want to release your expectations and be more fluid with this. You want it to evolve. You don't want to be in a box because you're limiting your possibilities, you're limiting your potential. So let everything evolve as you evolve. That's what I've learned so far. Before, in the beginning of my journey, I was like, I need to be in all the gift frequencies so that I was about keeping me safe. It was about creating a foundation. It was about things staying the same. And what I've noticed is things don't stay the same. And I think that's, hi, there you go. I think that's why the vocation has been so profound for me, because before it was like, there's a finish line, I need to evolve, or I need to get there as fast as I can so then I can just be there. And it's not about that, it's about the journey. It's about the expansion that happens as you're living life. It's not about reaching a set endpoint. It's not about a goal. It's about just being. Again, here, being. All these have been coming into play in my life, and it's just been amazing, the shifts that have catalyzed within me just by studying this and contemplating it. I am a contemplator, and it's my jam. Actually, hold on. Let me see if you guys are how. Okay. Better late than never. Thank you for joining us. Working my shadow of inadequacy. Oh, you have a beautiful Genki. I don't know who's commenting because my Be Live thing isn't letting me know, but for the person that said that you have a shadow of inadequacy, the gift is I think it's the well. It's like versatility. It's depth. It's the gate of depth. You have all of the knowledge and information at your fingertips. Think about this wealth of knowledge as a well within you. And all you have to do is pull down your bucket and bring it up. You have all the answers within you. Inadequacy comes when you feel like you don't have the things that you actually do have. And it comes with residing in your mind. All your answers are in your heart. Everything you need to know is in your heart. It's when you go to your mind and be like, my mind doesn't remember this, or I don't know enough about this. And so you become a constant student of something, or you constantly feel like inadequate when you're comparing to another person. But when you go into your heart, you have this immense wealth of knowledge, and people can feel it and sense it in you. It's like this deep place, and it feels like I am attracted to you. I am compelled to be around you because I feel like you have a lot of the answers. I feel like you have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, a lot of wisdom. People will come to you and want to know what you have in that well. Oh, can you share some of that with me? It's actually a really awesome gene key to have. And I know a couple people that I've had conversations with. I'm like, man, I can feel the well in you, and it feels so good. And obviously we all have these gene keys in ourselves, but especially people who have them in the 11 spheres, you can feel that it's just, okay, so if you're looking at it as like a pipeline, maybe, if you're looking at it as a pipeline, you have all 64 gene keys, right? And each of them has its own pipeline, and they may be smaller and more contracted, or you may have these bigger holes that like put more energy through them. And so this is how I'm seeing it. And so for your 11 gene keys, so say you have the gate of depth, it comes through like this. So you have a lot of access to the energy, and it flows. And so it comes into your experience more frequency because there's a lot of focus. There's a lot of energy coming through here. Whereas if you don't have 16 in your profile, it may look like this. You're still experiencing it, but it's only until you give it focus that you're able to have it expand. It's like your set point, your 0 point, your reset point. You have 11 of these gene keys that have frequent energy, frequent flow coming through them, and frequent ways to experience that energy. Whereas the other ones, all you have to do is bring your awareness to those to have your pipeline expand so that you can experience more depth of that gene key. We have all of them. It's just about bringing your awareness to each of the different ones so that you're able to experience them greater. You are not lacking in anything, and you can decide like, I just turned to Gene Key 32, Failure, Preservation, Veneration, which is interesting, and I want to talk about it in a second because I experienced it last night. So crazy that I turned to this. But the Gene Key 32, I don't have it in my Gene Key profile, but I do experience it. I do have experiences with it. And it's all about when you're bringing your focus on that thing, that you are then able to experience it in a deeper capacity. So Gene Key 32 is preservation and veneration. It has to do a lot with preservation of like an ideal and a belief, a value, a thing. It's about preserving something. And so I watched Coco last night with my son. It's a Pixar movie, and it is about Dia de los Muertos, and it's about remembering your ancestors. And they put their ancestors on an ofrenda, and which is like an offering. I think ofrenda means offering. It sounds like offering. And he is preserving that culture by going down into the spirit world and preserving the legacy, the remembrance of his great-great-grandfather, something that people forgot because of their ego, their emotions being wounded, and they casted that guy out. So he was preserving this tradition of like, you know, the ofrenda and the Dia de los Muertos, and family is family no matter what they do to you, right? And it's about forgiveness. So again, what is that? I think that's Genki 4. So Genki 4 was in that. I love watching movies and being like, okay, what Genkis are in this? And so I get to experience it through the eyes of the characters. Because it's not just about it being in our personal experience, it's about you being able to have empathy and observe and put yourself in the place of another person to experience that too. So I love getting immersed in movies because I'm able to experience and feel what the characters are feeling. And so I'm able to have an experience of Genki 32, failure, preservation, veneration within that movie. It's like a way to experience that without actually having to experience it in your life. Unless you want that experience, then you can. So that's kind of what happened last night with me, and it was awesome. Find the cosmic order, gene key 50 out of the programming partner, gene key 3 is what you do, Ashley. Ooh, I love that. Yeah, programming partners are an awesome way for you to understand the gene keys and how they're playing in your life. For example, gene key 27. This is how you read this gene key. So in the book, you have obviously the gene key number, and then over here you have the city, the gift, and the shadow. And it has the title, which is the food of the gods, and then you're going to see over here it says programming partner. I can't read that. The programming partner is gene key 28. And there's also other little nuggets of exploration in the gene keys too. You can go into the codon ring. You have the codon ring of life, and it shows all the different rings. I mean, all the different gene keys that show up in this ring. And it also talks about the physiology. So we have the sacral plexus. The amino acid is leucine. And so what I've done is, if you can think about it this way, your gene keys, so look at this. 15 is my radiance. And that has a lot to do with how I thrive. And so I'm going to flip to 15, and I'm going to look here and be like, okay, what's the physiology? The liver. The amino acid is serine. And so what I found, and I haven't made this correlation or connection yet, so I'm doing it for the first time here. Since the physiology is the liver, when I am in the shadow frequency of dullness too often, I will experience dis-ease in my liver. And I have suffered from acne since I was, I don't know, a teenager, I guess, on. And I've noticed that it has a lot to do with my liver. And a lot of spiritual teachers that I've talked to said that a lot of the manifestations of acne, obviously it's emotions, it's hormones, it's like the lunar cycle, which I know plays a factor, but also your liver plays a factor too. And so it's interesting that the liver is here, because that could be what triggers that. So I have to ask myself, the shadow of dullness, how does it show up in my life? And then it manifests as a physical manifestation. I haven't really struggled with it recently because I've definitely been feeling that magnetism and fluorescence. So I'm starting to see how dis-ease, illness, anything shows up in my body based on the gene keys. Isn't that amazing? So let me just flip and see if there's, okay, we're on 32 again. So 32 is failure, preservation, and veneration. So the physiology is the spleen. So when you're in the shadow of failure, and the victim pattern is the victim of your idea of success. So when you're being a victim of your idea of success and how you're defining success, A lot of stuff is going to start going on with your spleen. You're going to start seeing stuff manifest out of that. Okay, vanity. I'm getting one. This is vanity. I think that's 12. Yeah, 12. Okay, so the Gene Key 12, which is a pure heart. I'm going to show you this one. This is, see how many things we can do with this? Purity, discrimination, and vanity. The programming partner is the 11th Gene Key. We have the physiology is the thyroid. It doesn't have an amino acid, but what I've noticed, because I have a particular friend who has this Gene Key and struggles with the shadow of vanity, and she has, is it Hashimoto? I don't know. It's this autoimmune disease that comes out of the thyroid, and she has a lot of hair loss. And so that's what I have made the connection with. I have a couple other friends that have Hashimoto's disease, and I made the connection that they were operating in the shadow frequency of a particular gene key coming out of the thyroid. And I found that in their human design chart. So if you're having any issues with a particular part of your body, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in your main profile, if you have any issues with a particular part of your body or physiology, open up to the gene keys and see, okay, I opened up to thyroid and parathyroid. So we're talking about thyroid. So Gene Key 35, which is a victim of your need for change. The shadow is hunger. And so what shows up there is in your thyroid. So you'll get a lot of thyroid issues coming up and showing up. And just looking at the physiology allows you to know, okay, if I'm wanting to heal myself, if I'm wanting to stop manifesting this dis-ease, all I have to do is unlock the gift of adventure. And so it's about understanding how you operate in the shadow and how you can shift into the gift frequency. Because when you're operating in the gift frequency, dis-ease leaves your body. Illness leaves your body. Pain leaves your body. Because you're operating in wholeness. You're not feeling like a victim of anything. When you're operating in victim frequency, you're obviously going to attract things that are affecting your life in a negative way. Okay, let me see. How did you know that you were starting to receive your gifts? We don't receive, they're always there. So like the shadows are always there, the gifts are always there, the city's always there. It's just where you're putting your focus. When you start to see, it's mindfulness. When you are able to tap into mindfulness and awareness and consciousness, you're able to see where you're in shadow and where you're in gift. Or you're even able to start with be like, oh, I'm operating in shadow. How do I shift into the gift frequency? By understanding what the gift frequency looks like, you're able to practice that and kind of see what it's like to operate in that. You know what the opposite is of that shadow. So then you start acting in that way. So then you start unlocking your gifts. You start seeing yourself in that gift frequency. Some of the gift frequencies talk about, or the acidic frequencies talk about spiritual gifts. So you may even start experiencing those spiritual gifts. I know that Gene Key 57 is all about clairaudience. It's about you coming into the resonance field of clairaudience. It's about you being able to tap into this. I don't know what they describe it as, but I'm seeing it, but I don't know how to describe it. So entering the sin field. So it's about tapping into your intuition and then unlocking your clairaudience. So if you have this gene key in your profile and you're not currently unlocking your clairaudience, you're going to start experiencing that. You're going to start pulling into that gift. Because once you pop out of the shadow of unease, you realize that this anxiety is just energy and information coming to you, and it comes through the form of your intuition. Usually it's like that quiet voice, right? And that could cause some unease in your body and you're like pushing it away. But once you surrender to that unease and realize it's not anxiety, it's actually anticipation and excitement, and then you start experiencing and hearing and unlocking that clairaudience. We have all of the gifts. It's just, what are you suppressing and what are you not allowing to come through? Because we can have clairaudience, clairvoyance, sentience, smelling, tasting, all of them. We have all of the gifts. We have all of the gene keys, so we have all of the gifts. Everything is available and accessible to us. We just have to look into our shadows and our fears and be like, what's holding me back? Why am I deciding to not experience this? Is it because I have fear around it? And ask yourself why you feel unsafe. Okay. Gene Keys allows me to understand my authentic nature and stop resisting as much. Pieces of peace allow. Yes. Yes. I love it. Wisdom is my culture. I know I see Gene Keys everywhere. It's interesting how Gene Keys is starting to well, I think also with the ambassador program that they started, and I'll talk about that later, there's more people spreading the word. And I feel like a lot of people are talking about human design too. And I feel like human design is the foundation of how energy works within us. And then Gene Keys is what allows us to unlock our genius and unleash it into the world. And so as a progressive step, you're understanding how your energy type works. You're understanding how that is. You're unboxing yourself. You're releasing the limitations and becoming an open channel. And once you do that, then you're able to hop into your Gene Keys and be like, okay, what gifts do I want to experience? Because I know a lot of you guys asked that question, who am I? That was my question and indicator for me to go on this journey. As I was asking myself, who am I? Who am I? And that's the question that pops up. I keep ripping this out and putting it back in, is the 10th Gene Key. So the spiritual, if any of you guys have the 10th Gene Key, it's basically the spiritual journey. It's transitioning from the me to the we to the I am. And so it goes on that spiritual journey. And it goes through the frequencies too of the Gene Keys of the shadow, the gift, and the city, because we're going from self-obsession, asking, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Then asking, who are we? Like, how are we connected? How do I serve? How do I serve the whole? To the I am presence, which is the Civic frequency, which is just being, which is about just being, is about unity, wholeness, peace, like this united state. And the journey ends when you reach the I am, because you realize you were that all along. And there's, life becomes like it has no meaning, and it has all the meaning because it is the meaning that you give it. So when you realize what you are, time stops, progress stops, everything stops, because you realize that you are whole, you are complete, and it's done. It's finished. It's beginning. It's everything. So paradoxical. I remember Dawn and I talking about that connection. And you can support your process by using acupuncture to balance the energies and feel better. It takes longer for the body to catch up to energy upgrades. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why it's also important. Like, we are here to be in a body, to experience a body. And so, yeah, we're doing all this spiritual work, but you can't forget or leave behind your body, because it is about grounding this energy, grounding this knowledge, grounding these shifts into the body, into your experience. So that takes action, and that takes you being present. You can't just like activate it and unlock it up here and bring awareness there without actually doing something here in the physical. If you're wanting to change your experience in the physical. What Gene Key would be in relation to the hip, upper leg? My daughter died due to medical negligence, and I had to deliver her afterwards. And the nurse pulled my hip out of its socket, damaging the ligaments and forcing me to walk with a cane. I have been constant pain. You're not a victim. And this is all design, like this was meant to happen. And you're not at the mercy of someone else's negligence. It's you and what you have chosen to experience and what your daughter has chosen to experience. I'm not discrediting the experience or the emotions or anything that has come from that, but the only way that you're going to be able to heal yourself from what has happened is for you to take ownership and responsibility for the experience. And because we're magnetizing and pulling in all these experiences to us, and we're not victims of anything. So I'm pretty sure, because what I'm hearing is your daughter gave you a gift. It's not like her physical body may not be here, but she gave you a gift. So I want you to dive deeper into that and ask yourself, how can I forgive? Because it's really about forgiveness in this instance. Forgiveness to them, to the staff, forgiveness to yourself. And there's a lot that you can do. You can message me later. We can talk about it. Because I definitely have compassion for you, for that experience that you've had and what you're dealing with right now. But I also don't want you to feel like it has to stay like that. And you don't have to hold anger or resentment or guilt about that experience, because I'm curious what your core wound is too. You can shift it around. You can heal yourself of the emotional, physical, and mental trauma. You can do that. Okay, so looks like we're good there. Let me see what else we're getting through little by little. I wanted to make sure I went over these in depth so you guys are able to understand them. So this is the 6 lines, and obviously we have Richard Rudd's 3 books that we can go through. These are just summaries a little bit, and it applies to all of the lines. So the first line is the inner essence, introspection, investigation. I always think of line 1 as like going within, inside yourself. And the frequency moves from the shadow of afraid of your own potential to solid inner certainty, right? Trusting yourself. To be able to transform this line, you respond best to full information and heartfelt directness. This is the wound of repression. And your fears must be explored and accepted, so you need to go within. So if you're having a lot of line 1s in your profile, explore your fears, accept them, go within, embrace them. Your answers are within you. A line 2 is expression, projection, ease of being, passion, and relationships. The frequency moves from unconsciously provocative to an expression of pure light. It kind of is starting to emanate out of you. It's a frequency. It responds best with high frequency and no agenda. So if you're working with this line 2, it's not about you putting constant effort and direction into it. It'll just come. Let the universe deliver you the opportunities to shift. It's not about being provoked. It's not about putting exerted effort into transforming this line. This line needs no agenda. You can't schedule out your shift. It's because it's the wound of denial. Look in the mirror of your relationship. Turn anger into passion. So since it's a line 2, it's usually a biofeedback loop between your closest relationships. So ask yourself, what's your relationship with your husband, your wife? And if you aren't in that kind of relationship, you got to look at the entirety of your relationships. You're either going to have one relationship that gets to be the mirror that you're able to explore this line 2 with. And it's usually in your relationships that you're doing it. So if you have any line 2, so my pearl is chaos, innovation, and innocence. So if I'm a line 2, it's about denial, and I need to look into my relationships and turn my anger into passion. So this biofeedback loop between my relationships. That's the only line 2 I have. Okay. And then line 3 is adaptation, discovery, trial and error, energy, and experience. We've talked about this one before. You need different experiences. No pressure at all, just different experiences to experience this. It's the wound of shame. Confront your commitment issues and learn to laugh at yourself. So you need trial and error, adaptation, discovery, all those things for you to be able to work through this line. Do I have a line 3? I don't have a line 3. I don't have any line 3s. Line 4, friendship, connection, magnetic influence, love, and community. So it moves from hiding behind fixed view to honest, open, and heartfelt. So integrity, honesty, softness, and romance is what it responds best to. It likes being around people. It likes friendship. It likes connection. It likes being out there in the community. And so that's why you're going to need these experiences out there. So it's about getting yourself out there, having those honest, open, and heartfelt communications and conversations with people. The wound is the wound of rejection. And obviously that's why you're needing that interaction with the community, is because you're wanting to heal that wound of rejection, not feel rejected. You're wanting to put yourself out there, raw, open, real, having these conversations. It says only you can heal your heart, and you need to be gentle with yourself. A line 5 is practicality, leadership, organization, power, and projection. So frequency moves from self-deluded tyranny to leadership through listening. And it responds best to simple and practical solutions, so like action steps, stuff like that. This is the wound of guilt, so you have to be aware of the manipulation of power consciously and unconsciously. Forgive everyone, including yourself. So the wound of guilt goes from guilt to forgiveness. And then 6, we have a lot of people who have line 6s are visionaries, are role models. They're meant to teach. They're meant to bring in a new wave, something from the future to the present. They're here to create change, to catalyze change. So the frequency moves from aloof, arrogant, and inaccessible, because what happens sometimes in the shadow frequencies, these people are like, you guys are doing it wrong. I don't even want to be involved in this. This is not how I believe things are to be. To wise and embodied futurists. This line responds best to patience, because it takes you having patience to unlock your wisdom. You go through life to unlock your wisdom, to go through, and a line 6 usually goes through all of the lines. You're experiencing all of them so that you can come to this 6th line with wisdom, knowing what it's like to move through line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when you get to the futurists, to the wise embodied futurists, you have done it with patience. The wound of isolation or separation is the core wound here. Watch yourself when you disengage. Manifest your highest vision here in your physical body. Because what you're doing is you're bringing a piece of the future here. And so you need to ask yourself, where am I leaving my body to go get this information or live in the future? Because you are seeing not utopia, but you are seeing what the future can look like for us. And so sometimes when you're disengaging because you're like, I don't like what's happening here. I like where my world is. I'm going to go over there. You're disengaging and you're removing yourself from the present, which is where your body is. And so you may seem aloof or inaccessible to other people. And so you're wanting to be here in the present, knowing that this future and this wisdom that you're bringing is inside of you and you don't have to go anywhere to get it. So it just takes patience for it to come out and come into the world. The last thing in this is the victim patterns, the gene key victim patterns. So each of the gene keys in your profile have a victim pattern, and obviously we have all the gene keys. So for example, I opened up to the 31st gene key, and that is, let's see, the victim of your need to be heard. This gene key is arrogance, leadership, and humility. When you think that you know it all and when you think that you know best, sometimes in the shadow frequency, what we're doing is we're projecting our knowing onto other people. Like, you need to listen to me because what I'm saying is right and you're wrong. So listen to me because I'm just trying to correct you. But it's you trying to be heard because you have this like idea that you know best. And so you're trying to force your idea and control your idea onto the other person. And you're like, if they would just hear me, it could click in for them. But the gift frequency of this is leadership, knowing that those who will follow, those who will listen. And it's not about you being heard. It's about you guiding. And so it moves from that arrogance, like I know it all, to I want to help you lead. I'm going to turn around and help you up the ladder with me. So you can look into each of your gene keys and see, like, how am I playing the victim? Because we're in different victim patterns in our gene keys, and that's what keeps us in the shadow. So the more you can understand where you give your power away to, like if you're a victim of jealousy, you're giving your power away to your jealousy instead of, because what's 7? I don't remember what 7 is. 7. That one just stuck out to me. 7 is division, guidance, and virtue. So what happens when you're a victim of jealousy? You're wanting to divide. You're like jealous of another person's situation, circumstance, and you're feeling like you are divided, that you need to divide. Victim of jealousy. Then you have the gift of guidance and virtue. When you are a victim of jealousy, you're either going to be hidden or you're going to be dictatorial. And it's the shadow is somebody that knows that it's a leader and takes full advantage of this by abusing its position. These people use those who follow them to their own advantage, thus reinforcing their status as followers. True leadership encourages people not to rely on others, whereas this style of leadership demands complete reliance, either through pure power or presence or through subtler means. These people are master of patterns and can manipulate others by locking them into certain patterns. These can be intellectual patterns of thinking or belief, powerful emotional games, or materialistic patterns involving money. The game is to trap followers into believing that they need leadership. Naturally, such leaders only attract followers who want to remain at the victim level of consciousness. So remember, we're not here, even like when you're unlocking your gift, when you're unlocking your creativity, when you're putting your things out into the world, for those of you who are coaches or leaders or putting up in that leadership position, it's not about you having these followers that stay followers. It's about you empowering and uplifting all these people to unleash their own creative genius and for them to recognize who they are. So then they no longer need you. It's not about people needing you, right? So what I'm doing here, like I could just be like, I'm not going to explain the gene keys. You're going to have to go seek it out yourself because I want you guys to always come to me and be like, Ashley, explain this to me. Ashley, I'm going to pay you for this. So then there's some kind of self-reliance, or not self-reliance, because that's what I want you to have. There is a reliance on me to give you what you already can have within yourself. And so we're wanting to move out of that dominance or arrogance or that kind of division, and we're wanting to unite and work synergistically, and we're wanting to lead and provide guidance. And that's why that's the gift frequency, because we're empowering each other to empower ourselves. Because sometimes we're looking outside of ourselves for answers, and it's the true leaders that turn the mirror back around on the person and be like, hey, look at yourself. I don't know all your answers. You know all your answers. I mean, I could access your answers. Anybody could access the answers. But the true nugget, the true pearl comes when you're able to go inside yourself, access that. That's why this whole progression is about going inside, then unleashing it outside. It's about an inside, then an outside. So you have to go in within first before you can unleash it outward. You have to know who you are first before you can unleash it outward. If you don't have that anchoring and that grounding within yourself, it's going to be difficult for you to know what you're unleashing. And you're going to constantly be looking around at other people being like, what is she doing? Let me compare with this person. What is this guy doing? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Your answers are within yourself. It's not about comparing outside of yourself. That's why it's an internal focus, and that's why it's important to go through the gene key progression because it's what's going to illuminate who you are. And so what I've realized and been led down is that some people are using gene keys or human design to stay in the victim frequency because some of them are so rigid that they put us in boxes. There's a lot of labels like human design. You could allow yourself to be a victim of your design, like, oh, I'm a projector, or, oh, I have an open throat center, so therefore I can't speak. Oh, I need to be invited. Oh, I'm a manifestor, so I'm here to inform, and I'm not here to collaborate with people. I'm here to enact my own vision, and people will come to serve me. That's not what it's about. It's about you recognizing how things play, how things show up in your life, and releasing your grasp on it, because it's this inward focus, this me, this attachment to me and who I am and what makes me special that separates us even more. It's about you understanding who you are so you can be confident in that foundation and then letting it go. And seeing how we're all connected, seeing how we are all the same. There's no specialness. We are all the same. There's no hierarchy. We are all the same. We are all united. We are all one. The more you hold on to this specialness idea, the more you separate. And aren't we all here to unite? That's the evolution or the progression. So that's where I'm kind of moving into, is like, how can we simplify this? How can we create a journey out of this to maybe take us through this process, take us through this progress, answer that question of who am I, and then release the labels, the beliefs, the expectations, the attachments, release the limiting beliefs, release the judgments, release everything so that we are able to be naked, raw, and ourselves. Be very, unrobe ourselves, unclothe ourselves, take everything off so that we can intentionally decide how we want to show up. And it's by unrobing ourselves and taking down the walls and knocking down the walls and seeing our shadows and seeing our fears and releasing them, transforming them into our gifts, and allowing our heart to open up more and more and more with the confidence and self-trust and peace that we have within ourselves. And the more you can do that, the more you're just going to operate from your heart. You're going to need no labels. You're going to need nothing. All you're going to need is that connection to your heart, which is the connection to source, which is the connection that connects all of us. And so when you know how connected we all are and where we came from, you no longer need the labels, because what's underneath it is what matters. The vulnerability, the transparency is what matters. And now you get to be like, oh my God, I'm just here to have fun. I don't need to save anyone. We're all the same. Nobody needs to be saved. I just get to have fun. I just get to be here, play this divine game, and decide what experiences I want to have. And if you're wanting to help other people come into the light too, do that. Manifest your creativity, manifest your genius through a way to bring others up. You can be a leader, you can be a guide, you can bring people to this new realization. Because some people resonate, some people won't, some people want to stay victims. We need to honor their journey. We need to honor their choices. We don't need to honor the shadow in them. It's about honoring their choice. Because we are all source, we are all God that came here to experience this separateness. We're already separate enough being in a body. It's about remembering where we came from, who we are, and how do you want to manifest your genius? How do you want to put things out into the world? So we want to unguck all the gunk that we have put on ourselves, all the clothes, all the judgments, all the labels that we have put on side of ourselves that says, this is who I am. This is me. This is how I'm describing myself, because we're wanting to separate more and more and more. So it's about washing it clean and being like, I'm an expression of God. I'm an expression of source. And this is how I'm manifesting and expressing myself with what's coming through from my heart, not from my mind. Your mind is going to label. Your mind is going to judge. Your mind is going to separate. Your heart is going to unite. And so whatever you put forth from your heart is going to manifest experiences to unite and not separate. When you are manifesting from a sense of specialness or the energy of guru or I'm better than everybody else, that's going to divide. That's going to get more people to want to come up into the state of division. When we're manifesting from our heart, releasing all these labels, being very present, and only doing what makes us happy, skipping along, being like, I feel like doing this today. It'll start uniting people, bringing people together. That's why we're here. So this is what I'm starting to do with the Gene Keys and work towards, is allowing people to use the Gene Keys to answer that question of who am I? And then we're going to go look into the shadows, look into the fears, look into the judgments, see what we put on ourselves to hide our true nature, to create separation or specialness, how we can basically burn our reality down, burn our labels down so that we can rise above the ashes as, you know, the divine phoenixes that we are, and naked and unafraid and ready to embrace the world with all of our heart. So I'm here to show you the things you have robed yourself with, the walls you've placed around your heart, and I want to help you knock them down. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You can stay in the victim pattern. You can still have the same struggles. You can keep experiencing separation. You can keep having fear pop up in your life, or you can live a life of peace, of excitement, of joy, of fun, by releasing all that separates us, by not defining ourselves, by operating from our hearts, because it's all about that. It's all about coming back to home within ourselves, and then manifesting from that, so inward to outward. So that is what direction I'm starting to take with the Gene Key. So for those of you just starting, it's time for self-exploration, self-discovery, time to go inside yourself and be like, okay, what are my patterns? What are my beliefs? What are my fears? What are my victim patterns? And looking at those things very loosely, for being very forgiving, being very gracious and graceful on this journey, and knowing it means nothing. It means nothing of you. The labels you put are not you. The mistakes you've made are not you. The experiences you've had are merely experiences. They don't define you. They aren't you. And so the more we start to understand that, the more we can have non-attachment to those things and be like, whew, like I could just feel a sigh of relief, and like I can just feel all this weight like just falling off of me, falling off of all of you. And that's what I hope to bring here in this community. And I hope to illuminate that. Like, we're going to ignite the light within you. You're going to light that sacred fire within yourself, burn down all your walls, burn down all of your judgments, burn everything down till you are naked, raw, whole, and connect in with your heart. Your heart knows. Your heart is what will guide you, not your mind, not with this separation, not with this judgment, not with all these things that you are labeling yourself and putting yourself, in a category. I want to uncategorize us. I want to unbox us. I want us all to just be like, I see God in you. I see God in you. And I honor what you are putting into the world, because we're all creators. And wouldn't it be fun to just co-create with each other from a space of love and unity? The world would be a better place because of it. So that is where I'm going with this. Let's see, comment. I feel so much better at parenting once I realize that my kids are okay on their journey and that their journey's for them. I do not have to save them or fix them, but instead help them embrace their journey. Much more joy in my life as a result. I love learning about who I am, and thank you for sharing this. You're so welcome. I feel like a lot of us parents, we are trying to protect or control our kids because we're not wanting them to experience the pain. We're not wanting them to experience, make mistakes. But it's important for them to make mistakes. What we're here to do is to help them find their inner guidance system and make good decisions based on what they believe. So I totally agree in it. And it just helps us release the weight. We're not here to carry anyone, even our kids. We're here to just guide. And that doesn't mean you're gonna hold their hand. You can hold their hand, but it's not about dragging them or forcing them or pushing them. It's about always giving them the choice to make a decision that feels right inside them. And us sharing our wisdom, because that's all we can do is have conscious communication with our children. And that opens up our hearts, and they will be like, okay, what do I think about this? What do I feel about the kids? Are able to be more self-reflective and be able to make decisions based on the values that they have adopted, right? And the more they operate from their heart, the less fears and ego and illusion and lack and separation and all that stuff gets in the way. So we're just here to remind them of who they are. And they're here to remind us of who we are, because a lot of them are coming in here already knowing who they are. And they're here to just remind us. So that our relationship with our kids are really important. The kids coming into this world are amazing. We're not here to put them in a box. Speaking of that, I have this book this binder that I have created for all of my family. So I have my gene keys in here. I have my 3 sons, and I have my husband. So if you are wanting to expand this out into your family and see, okay, what's my kid's core wound? What is their shadow frequency like? So you can be mindful of how they're operating. And so that if they ask you for help, you're able to guide them towards the gift frequency. Like, how do I shift out of this, Mom? I don't know how to shift out of this. I'm able to look at each of my kids and be like, okay, first of all, something that's really awesome is, this is my son Austin's. I got a lot of notes going on here. But you can see, obviously he's working his way through the Venus sequence. And Austin is about to be 7. So he is about to move from his SQ to his EQ. So ding, that lets me know, oh my gosh, Austin is about to understand about his emotions, how to process them, how to work with them, how to release the emotional defense, how to get out of the shadow. And what happens when kids are in age 7 to 14 is they're learning how to process, deal with, and adapt to their emotions through the frequency of their parents. So I need to be on my emotional game and be like, okay, how am I making sure that I'm taking responsibility for my emotions, not blaming others for my reactions? How can I respond versus react? And understand that I'm guiding him and leading him through my being. I don't even have to say anything to him. He's picking up on the subtle cues. So the people that your kids hang out with most during that formative age is how they're going to understand how to process their emotions. So for Austin, he has an EQ of forgetting, mindfulness, and revelation. I'm going to need to teach him about mindfulness and about his emotional GPS system. Because if he's not being mindful, he's going to forget, and he's going to make emotional reactions, and he's going to react instead of responding. And so there's more in the 33rd gene key. So I would definitely go in there and see, like, what's the trait, what's the theme, what's the hallmark of the experience that my son is going through right now. And it's awesome. And then we'll see, ooh, no wonder he loves Coco. My son's IQ is 32. Failure, preservation, veneration. So that's about how his IQ, his mind, how he thinks, how he brings forth thought, and his mental defense mechanism. So he has the victim pattern of the 32nd gene key is your idea of success. So I'm going to have to help him as a teenager redefine what success means and give it more elusive a description and be like, failure is not failure. There's going to be strategies that I'm going to have to be mindful of and make sure that I'm giving Austin opportunities to experience the gift frequency and give him like my knowledge on the matter and help him be in situations and circumstances that allow him to experience these things. And you can see like where their lines are. Like Austin has a lot of line 4s. So it's about community and love and experiencing it out there in the world. And so I'm going to have to allow him to have those experiences. It's not a line 2 where it's like this biofeedback loop between two people. Definitely for this next phase, he's a line 2. So I know that it's all about a biofeedback loop between me and him and my husband and him. So me and him will have to learn on being mindful together. So it's awesome. I have all of my kids in here. And before I was like focusing on the shadows and the victim patterns. How can I make sure they're in the gift? Now I'm like, ooh, this is an interesting and wonderful journey where we get to experience this stuff together, and I get to witness his journey. So mindfulness spirit animal is a sloth. Tell him to sloth. I love that. Oh, and I love what Richard Rudd has done with the animal totems with each gene key, because they're also like guides, for us. And then we have crystals too. My son is big on crystals. He loves crystals. So maybe I'll get him whatever crystal is associated with gene key 33. So there's tons of ways for you to empower your kid and not control their experience. And don't think that the shadow frequency is horrible. Oh my God, it's so bad to be in the shadow frequency. It's not. It unlocks things for you. There is a gift in the shadow, always. And so when your kids are operating in shadow, or you're seeing them struggle in shadow, know that they're an experience that they're choosing, because there's a gift within it. And there's a gift for you, because if the experience is coming to you, you have magnetized that for you to be able to witness and respond to it. Because at some level, you're going to want to react to the shadow and then go down the spiral of joining your child in the shadow. You can either join them in the shadow or honor their decision to be in the shadow, but hold the space for them to find the gift. It's not about us pulling them up into the gift. It's about us holding space and seeing them in their completeness and their wholeness, and holding that space for them in the gift frequency, in the civic frequency. We're seeing them as their highest versions of themselves, not as how they're operating in the shadow. They're just choosing to experience that, and that's okay. That's fine. Then I have Benjamin and Luke, and I even have my husband, because it's really important to look at your spouse's chart too and be like, okay, what's the Eden loop? What's the biofeedback loop that's happening between me and my husband when we're communicating? Because your IQ and your EQ, you have your IQ defense and your EQ defense, and you and your partner, when that biofeedback loop gets initiated, you guys will start feeding off of each other. It's like, oh, wounded emotions, wounded mind, and then you'll have this defense. Like, let me put up my shield, let me get out my sword, and let me fight you. And instead, it's about one person being mindful, dropping the sword and shield, and, holding space for that person to shift. And if they don't, then it's time to give them space to process and contemplate. And then seeing your attraction field. So my husband's attraction sphere is dislocation, orientation, and unity. So feeling that separateness. His core wound is also separation, which is interesting. So he's feeling it in his relationships. He's feeling it in his vocation. And so it's about me. It's about him understanding what unity means for him. But if I can radiate what it means to be united and oneness, then he will be able to like see that reflection back to him, right? So what he's experiencing in our relationship is that feeling of either dislocation or separation or orientation and unity coming together as one. What I'm experiencing is agitation to awakening. So us awakening each other through our relationship, which is definitely happening, which is beautiful. Speaking of which, I think he might be home. Unless somebody, Justin? Oh my God. I was like, someone's here. Speak of the devil. I think it's Justin. Otherwise, I'm going to get scared that it's not. Okay, it is him. Oh my gosh. How was your day? We were just talking about you. Here's my husband. Say hi.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, well, so that's kind of how I use the Gene Keys. So I use it with my family. I use it with myself. Again, we have the Gene Key book. You can get it on Amazon. The Golden Path program, which dives into the lines. He also has the Portals of Grace, which is about the sacred seals. This is kind of more advanced. So once you've already dove into your activation Venus and Pearl sequence, once you feel kind of comfortable in there, then you can start working with the sacred seals. And I think they talk about the sacred seals in either Gene Key 55 or 22. It's 22. So you can look into that if you want to. And definitely use all the resources we have in the group, because there are stuff that we've done in the past. I know that I have a video series called WTF Are My Gifts, and I go through each of the spheres in the activation sequence, and then we talk about the line numbers. And again, you can go in the group and see that. I also I've decided that for those of you that are wanting to travel this journey with others, I started a new group. It's called Unlock Your Design. And back in October, back when I first started this, I had come up with that idea, but I never did anything with it. I never created the group, and it came back around this time. I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm being activated to start facilitating a deeper dive into the Gene Keys within a group. So here I will share with you guys the landing page for this group. Let me pull it up. Here it is. Okay, so this is Unlock Your Design group, and it's just it's for those of you who want to do this in a community setting, who want more support, who want more guidance, but want it at a more consistent degree. And it's just a monthly membership group. And I have decided that I'm going to be offering it for $11 a month, so super low. And we're just going to dive into the Gene Keys together. I have in here, this is the stuff that we're going to be doing. So I want, like I said, with the progression of things, I want you guys to ask yourself, who am I? Uncover that, then release all the labels, kind of burn down your walls, open your heart. And the main goal and purpose of this group is I want to guide you towards unleashing your creativity. I want you guys to all unlock your genius and then create with it. So I know a lot of you are like, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what I'm here to do. You're not going to be aligned with your purpose unless your heart is open, unless you're in a place of service and you're not feeling like you need validation. You're not in any of the shadows. You're not in any of the victim patterns, because when you are, you're not going to manifest at the scale or level that you may desire to, or that you may be aligned to. So what I want to do in this group is I want to give you guys more of direction, and we're going to talk it out. It's for those of you who want more discussion, who want more feedback, who want more direction. And so what we're going to do, we're going to dive into the Gene Key sequences. We're not going to talk about Gene Keys all the time, because it's a tool in the toolbox. It's a way, it's not the way. And so I want to bring in all different aspects. I want people to come in. We're going to have guest speakers come in and talk about like different tools, different ways. We're going to learn about the activation of the Venus and the Pearl sequence. I'm also going to do something I've never done before, is I'm going to teach you guys how to energetically activate your gene keys, how you play with the energy in the energetic field, in the energetic realm, how you activate them, how do you catalyze yourself from being in the shadow to the gift frequency. I'm going to teach you how, like my activations that I do when I know this should be so much more than it is, but I don't care. It's $11, so shoot me. So what I'm going to do, because everybody needs to know this. It's not some secret knowledge or a way that I know. It's super easy, and I want you guys to all trust yourself and be able to not need anyone outside of yourself. I want you to be self-sufficient, and I want you to take ownership and responsibility for your life and not feel like you are a victim of your circumstance or your knowledge or anything like that. I want to give you the tools and the keys you need to create a life that you want, to design a life that you want. So we're going to work with energetically activating the gene keys, how you do that, what that catalyzes, what that even means. Obviously, meaningful collaboration and discussions. I'm also going to give you guys opportunities to teach each other. Like we have a couple people in the group right now who are sharing resources, who are a wealth of knowledge themselves and have different perspectives on the gene keys and stuff like that. And I would love for you guys to join and contribute to the discussion because you have a ton of knowledge to unleash. And even so, like when you guys are wanting to practice with your skills, with your gifts, you can do so in this safe place. You can test it out on the group. We're also going to release, like I said, we're going to release labels, beliefs, and we're going to create this space of non-attachment within ourselves to manifest the purest expression of our divinity through creation. That's a lot of wordy stuff, but that's how they wanted me to write it out. It came so strongly through me. I'm like, okay, so we're going to release all of our labels. We're going to burn down our walls. We're going to find our heart space. And we're all going to, it's not a set course. There's not like module 1, module 2, blah, 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 blah. It's spirit-led. Whoever shows up in the group, I'm going to read the energy and be very present in the moment, be like, this is what I feel I'm meant to share with you. This is what I feel like is aligned right now. So it's very fluid. You know how I am. That's what we're going to do. And you know that I'm a giver. Like, how long have we been on? 2 hours? Oh my God, I'm so crazy. But all my kids are gone. So I can do this. And I feel like I want to empower you guys to be able to do this on your own. We're going to practice conscious communication, awareness, open our hearts through our relationships, and unlock and unleash our inner prosperity. And what does that even mean? So here are the things that we'll unlock in the group. Among other things, we're going to work with a lot of the gift frequencies. We're going to talk about what it means to be in the gift frequency and the different ones. Like, I'm going to open up one right now. So I just opened up to the city of honor. We'll ask ourselves, what does honor mean? What does it mean to honor ourselves? What it means to honor others? What does it mean to honor our choices, all that stuff. Like, we'll go deep into that and contemplate. We're going to contemplate together. And so this is $11 a month. Crazy, right? I don't know. That's the number they gave me. So I was like, or I gave myself, not they. I gave myself. It's because I tapped in. I was like, let me make this really accessible. So $11 a month. And let me post this link. Oh, hi. Let me post this link for you guys. No, I'll do it later because I don't think I can comment on here. But I'll put it on the screen. It is, there it is, supportyourdesign.com/unlockyourdesign. So if you're interested in doing this, you can reach out to me. You can go to the link and it just goes to like a PayPal screen, and then you can sign up for it, and then you can request to join the group. And after you pay, it'll automatically send you to the link for the group, and it's facebook.com/group/unlockyourdesign. And so we'll do this together. So I wasn't even planning on doing this today. It's just when I was getting ready to like pull all this stuff, I heard it's time for the group, and I was like, what group? And then it took me back to this, and I was like, okay, guess we're doing it. We're gonna do it, guys. So that's what I have for you guys. So if you're wanting to dive deeper into that and kind of work through all this in a community setting with some more like guidance and teaching and more facilitating, I don't like being known as a teacher. I'm going to give you all the tools that you need to do this, and we're going to work through it together. So I'm really excited about it. I want to do this with you guys, and I want more interaction within the group. So for those of you that are committed to this inner work and to finding out who you are, releasing all your labels, unlocking your heart, and then unleashing your creativity. That's the progression that I hope we're going to be making in the group. So it's not a program, it's not a course, it's a group experience. So if you're wanting a more group experience where there's more direction and guidance and diving deeper and deeper conversations, definitely hop into this inner circle and let's do this together. So again, thank you guys for joining me. I am starving, so I'm going to go eat some lunch. But I really appreciate those of you who came on with your questions and your comments and your love. And I love doing this. I love teaching the things that I've learned. I love giving you guys tools, and I love giving you sharing my journey with you. It's fun. So, have any questions about the group program, the Unlock Your Design, not program, sorry, the group, Unlock Your Design, let me know. And I hope to get started. I haven't decided the details of when it's going to start. It can start immediately. As soon as you guys start joining, we can start talking about stuff. So if you're interested, $11 a month, that's it. And I'm sure that we'll get a ton out of it. So if you feel pulled, let me know. Anyways, I'm going to jump off, but thank you so much again for joining me, and I am excited to walk this journey with you guys. Bye, everybody.